goes to the scuttle from the opening from the outside. Hey, look, it looks like ductwork we have in Tennessee.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
They say they used all this terracotta brick block on the whole house. Now, from what I understand, this was a very expensive way to build, and you only saw it on commercial jobs. There's a train station downtown and some old theaters and stuff that were built out of this. It was very seldom used in residential because it was so expensive, but because it was a Carnegie's, they could afford it.
That's right. That's nice.
So it's very unusual to find this kind of construction in residential.
There's the unit. Mastic all over it. That's good. Here's the floor joist. What is that, 2x12s?
Those are 2x10s.
2x10s. Okay.
And you cannot drive a nail it.
Oh, I bet.
Like a boulder.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, we got little...
Oh! Oh my, these roll. I'm gonna be spoiled. See if I can video while I'm
Prone?
yeah, look at that. Oh yeah. Let me get on this side. We're gonna be down here for hours playing around on these things.
Now what we've got, see, over here is probably our main focus. Here was our vents. And this is where we were getting a lot of, there's no one there. And this is where we were getting a lot of our water intrusion.
Right.
Since we put that foundation and stem wall and in the patio floor, it blocked all that off. So we're not getting any water here. They said we got probably 2.5 inches of rain on Monday night. And in a normal summer, this past summer, when we got that much rain, this was flooded. That's when the original calls went into you.
Gotcha. So we got right here, looks like we got some sand intrusion. But since you built that on the outside, you've not had the water intrusion like you had before, right?
No, not at all.
So, and the sump, there's 2 sump pumps down here, you said.
There's one, you see one right over there.
Oh, okay. There's one. All right. There's one.
And the one's going to be in the other area where we go back to.
Okay. There's the HVAC. Got it set up. Now, we are, what do we say, around 100% humidity outside, is that right?
Right now, it's probably not that high. The dew point right now is like in the mid 70s.
Dew point's in the 70s.
Yeah. The humidity is not nearly as bad now, obviously, as it is in August, September, or July and August. But it is high for this time of year right now. Normally, it's not this warm. We've got, temperatures in the 60s by now, and we're still in the mid 70s.
Okay.
So it is a little warmer now than it normally is.
So I'm theorizing, but as soon as you turn on this HVAC system, if it's humid down here, it's going to sweat these ducts because you're sweating.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. We're gonna see some condensation on this ductwork.
It's possible.
Yeah. So and since you've got a concrete floor and you got some water intrusion, even if it's just hydrostatic pressure, that adds to the humidity in here. So
is it? And the question is, do we close off all the vents and put dehues down here on a thermostat or on a humidistat? Or do we increase the airflow down here and put fans in?
Right. That's always the question. It's always the question. I I tend to go both. Okay, so I assume you don't have radon in Florida. Is that correct?
Oh, we do.
You do have radon in Florida. Okay, so if you seal up all the vents, and keep in mind there's more soil gases than just radon. There's methane. There's all kinds of things that can percolate into a living space. But let's just take radon, the number 2 cause of lung cancer among smokers, number 1 cause of lung cancer among smokers. If you completely seal up all the vents, then what's going to happen is the radon has nowhere to go but up. Okay, and in that case, it just kind of builds and goes up. So what we tend to do is, according to the EPA, what they recommend. I'm going to turn this around. So, what the EPA recommends is what you would classify, or what we classify as a hybrid system. Okay, so a hybrid system is where you're controlling humidity with dehumidification, as well as ventilating the space with fans. Okay, so you could put in it's normally 50 CFM of air it's 1 CFM of air for every 50 square feet of crawl space, according to the EPA, is adequate. Okay. So while you're running a dehumidifier, you have 1 or 2 of those fans that are, like in that cellar we were just in, that would have its own fan. Okay, and then this space is how many square feet, including the add-on over there where the door?
It's got to be 3,000 probably.
Okay, so 1 fan, basically, if you went with what we call a whisper fan, they do about 120 CFM, and if you do the math, that's what, 5,500 square feet.
Now, is that a fan pulling air in from the outside?
No, it's a fan that is located in here that's pushing air to the outside.
Okay, so we're not bringing outside air into here.
Right.
We're just basically circulating the air that's here and blowing it out through the vents.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And if you wanted to, there's enough, foundations have enough penetrations in them to where there's going to be some makeup air coming in just above ground level into the foundation, especially around the rim joists and places like that.
So do we seal up all the vents?
Seal up all the vents except for that one.
That was my question, because if, we were also told to put a fan in the vents, bringing air in from the outside, and another vent extracting the air out to the outside. But my thought process was, we're bringing humid air in and blowing humid air out.
Right.
Where's the benefit?
Right. That's correct. And so, again, the makeup air is going to come from somewhere.
Okay.
So if you have a single fan in this space blowing air out, it may pull a little bit of makeup air from
wherever the leaks are from inside the house.
Inside the house, inside the ducts. I mean, as good as you guys have done masticing the duct work, there's still going to be some places. Yeah. It's hard to get 100% seal on a duct system. Okay. Have you pressurized and tested the duct system? Do they require that in Florida? No. Okay. So, and typically a flex run duct system is going to leak less air, because a metal system, every 6 feet or so, you've got a joint.
Right.
Well, with the flex, you only have joints at the the return and the supply.
Right.
So anyway, but even at the return and the supply, you're going to get leaks, whether it's around the boots where these guys are going up or whatever. So that fan is going to just be pulling air, and it doesn't have to be a lot of air. Just like I said, 1 CFM for every 5 square feet. So that way it's pushing the air out of one of those vents. You can utilize one of those vents, because I'm not sure you can seal them all, because you got plumbing running out of some of them.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, what we'd have to do is block around it, and then
right. So that one with the most plumbing going around it, you could put your exhaust right there.
Okay. And
that could be your exhaust. And you could set the fan in here in the main space, and then run a 4-inch duct all the way to there.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
So whisper fan is like a bathroom fan. You can put it up in the attic and duct it.
Oh, okay. So it's not like a big box fan.
No.
That's blowing.
No, it's it's probably 12 by 12 by 8 or something like that. And you could
just hang it.
Hang it up there. Comes with the hanging and all that. By the way, that's on our website. Yeah. Then you would put a dehu. Okay. Same with the dehu. Whether I like the April air, of course. You could drain it into the sump. Okay. So that way,
So we could set that up near the sump.
Set that up near the sump. But the other thing about the dehu is you could technically duct it into that small cavity. So you can have a 10-inch insulated duct, just like I got up here. I think that's bigger than a 10-inch. Yeah. This maybe.
That's probably a 14.
Yeah. Actually, that looks like a 10 right there. So that's a 10-inch duct. You could duct it around that corner, and you could cut. You could put a T on it or a Y on it. You could blow dry air in this space, and then duct dry air to that other space. And the beauty of dry air is that, you know, the wet air is going to chase it. It's just like, you know, during a rainstorm where you see the high and the low.
Yeah.
So even if you set it right here, the wet air is going to try to come to the dry air, okay? Because the wet always follows the dry. All right. So then you could just pump the water out. You can get one of those April Air, either Model 76 or 8620W thermostats.
Mm-hmm.
And you could set it up there,
Yep.
so that way Payson could monitor the humidity down here without actually coming down here.
Oh, okay.
And he can actually adjust the dehu from up there.
Oh, well.
So if he sees, holy crap, the humidity is 80%, well, either the dehu's gone awry, or you got some serious flooding down here that you won't be that the dehu can't keep up with,
Right.
and he calls whoever to come down here and take a look. Okay, so, and then you could also get watchdog water alarms and set them up around different spots, and then they'll sound like a siren going off.
Okay.
If you take on water. You know, you just set them right on the concrete.
Yeah.
And that way it again alerts him that you got a water intrusion problem.
And those two are on your website?
Those are all on our website, yes. Now I'm gonna flip the camera around because I want to show something. This is a little different. As most of you can see, this is concrete. Okay, so vapor barrier isn't necessarily needed down here, but we're still gonna have a humidity problem. Now, the way I can tell, it seems like that if this crawl space takes on water, it's gonna make its way to one of two sump pumps in the space. So I don't feel that putting plastic down is going to serve any kind of purpose in this crawl space, and it's not tall enough to treat it like a basement. So, you know, if this was a basement and we had, you know, 8-foot ceilings, we could put an interior waterproofing trench around the perimeter of the wall to catch that water as it comes in. But it's going to be kind of hard to get, you know, a person down here. The jackhammer would probably almost touch the top of the crawl space, so you can't stand up and jackhammer down here. So you're just addressing standing water as it comes in with your sump pumps. I can't imagine what it was like digging that out. I mean, you probably had to use like a Makita hand rotary hammer or something to do that. I mean, that was a pretty nice little deal they put in over there. So, and we're sitting on sand. There is no bedrock underneath us. This is all on top of sand. So I think overall this is a pretty dry
At sea level.
at sea level, right? So this is now, are we below sea level here?
We shouldn't be.
We shouldn't be.
No.
Okay, in the crawl we're not.
No.
Okay, so we're still at or above sea level inside this crawl space. So, you know, we're what, maybe 50 yards from the ocean here.
From the river, yes.
Is that about right? That's a river.
That's a river.
Okay, so it's
It's River.
so it's fresh water.
It is.
Still affected by the tides, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay.
It comes right off the Gulf.
Okay. So still affected by the tides. They got their HVAC running down here. This could be a joint because they got some tape here, so they probably jointed right here. So, you know, they did a good job installing this ductwork. I think at this point it's just a matter of controlling humidity. Really, you already got your sump pumps in place. So
Yeah, and we'll probably replace those sumps because I don't know how old they are.
right.
So we'll probably buy those from you too.